So now we have jurors A, B, C, and D that have contacted the defense and told them that we wanted to acquit her of 2 charges, allegedly. So now they're filing a motion based on these jurors that have just come out of the woodwork and had a beeline right to the defense. And we're supposed to have full trust in what they say when they've been literally caught in lie after lie after lie for the past year.
That's not what you said in your affidavit that was actually filed under pains and penalties of perjury with this court, correct?
Yes.
Remember the Steve Scanlon hoax? The Canton Library footage? House Long to Die in Cold?
But he really saw the body on the front lawn except for Karen Reed because she knew exactly where it was.
Incorrect. That's
Like,
just a
nobody
lie.
saw it.
Lucky Laughlin saw it.
You saw the body?
Yes, he saw the body.
How do you know where Mr. O'Keefe's body was found? At any point in time, did you see Mr. O'Keefe's body on the front lawn?
No.
So how do you know where Mr. O'Keefe's body was found?
Through police reports, police interviews, stuff that was posted on the media.
So you've seen police reports in the media?
Well, not the police report.
All lies. Juror C really stands out as something that just seems a little off. Now, if we look at what they said, Jackson and Yannetti both had the same information, but Jackson included a lot less information than David Yannetti did. The information that Jackson included in his affidavit doesn't make the jurors sound like they're lying. But Yannetti included everything that was in the screenshots, and it sounds like it was not a juror at all. They comment that, we all acquitted her of murder and leaving the scene of an accident, right? But then they comment that, the juror slips were so confusing. Alan Jackson literally changed the juror slips. When he was arguing to change the juror slips, the judge was like, nope, shut up, we're not doing it, go away. But later that day, she came back and allowed him to change it. So this to me sounds like someone that saw that exchange, but didn't know that the judge gave in and let Jackson have his way and change the slips. I mean, it's not confusing, it's guilty or not guilty. This jury was giving the judge the most intelligent notes she's ever seen. They couldn't figure out to pass in the slips that said not guilty on them if they all agreed on 2 of the charges. I mean, come on now. Furthermore, neither Jackson or Yannetti spoke up and were like, we want to pull the jury, we want to do this, can we be heard? None of that. And that's all they've done for the past 2 months. They didn't want it out in the open what the results were because they wanted to create the narrative for the public. Because if it was publicized, what actually officially came out from the jurors, they couldn't push a false narrative. And that's what they're good at. That's what people are screaming in the streets about, is the false narrative. Even when it's proven false, the idiots still think it's true. All part of the plan, take advantage of the gullibles. And then juror C saying, I said no because I don't think the car caused both the head injury and the hypothermia. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. It sounds like a very familiar argument, doesn't it? I think someone's made that argument before. It wasn't in the trial, but I think, right.
Was that, did I incapacitate him unwittingly, somehow, and then in his drunkenness, passed out?
Incapacitated him, and then because he was drunk, he fell down, and then natural causes got him, the hypothermia. It's a little odd that juror would be making that argument, considering Adam Lally never made that argument. It's kind of curious that a juror would just kind of spew that out into the world, isn't it? It's almost like they're testing a new defense. And if you've noticed, ever since the get, everything that's come out, there has been some truth behind it, but it's always been stretched. Like, John O'Keefe called to report Colin Albert for rugs in the neighborhood. Come to find out, he actually reported rugs about somebody else in his neighborhood to Kevin Albert. If he was reporting Colin Albert, I don't think he'd report it to his uncle. But it's these closely related things that Karen and her team just twist just a little bit to get a story out of it. So when she said, what I thought might have happened was I incapacitated him, and then he fell down in his drunkenness, and the hypothermia got him, right? And I think that's exactly what did happen. Because there's no way in hell she backed up for like 100 feet, 24 miles an hour, and didn't hear a glass smash off the back of her car and didn't hear a big thump. I mean, even the acceleration in the car decreased when she hit him. So there's no way that she didn't know that it happened. It might have seemed like she clipped him. Like she might not have thought, oh, I'm killing him right now. She probably did not think that, but she hit the gas in a rage, backed up, got out of there, screamed, "I effing hate you" in the phone, went back home, and then she's calling him, and you can hear her tiptoeing around the driveway and the garage door closing as she's looking at the damage to her car. And I think at that point she started to get a little worried. And then she calls him, and then she's like, "Nobody knows where you are," right? So, nobody knows where you are. And then she calls her parents. She calls her parents 1 a.m. I'm sorry, but if a 40-year-old is calling their parents at 1 a.m, it's an emergency. And then she proceeds to call him incessantly all night long. Originally, she said that she just woke up and he wasn't there, and then she started calling. But no, now we know that she was calling all night long, incessantly. Didn't know what to do. He wasn't answering. And then she gets a hold of her parents, and then she starts calling people saying he got hit by a plow. I think John's dead. So, I mean, it's not just a random coincidence that she started thinking, oh, he's dead on the side of the road. He must have got hit by a plow. She knew that he went down, and at that point, because it was 4 hours later and he hadn't picked up the phone, she realized that he never got up. And at that point, she should have called 911. But instead, she, tries to back into his car, gets a search party together, potentially drives by the body as he's dying in the cold. And that's the line between murder 2 and manslaughter. It's, if she, as soon as she realized at whatever time that was, and I mean, it could be argued that it was at 1 a.m. when she first called her parents, that she saw the damage on her car. She knew he was down and he wasn't answering. But she waited so long that he died. It's really interesting that this juror is coming out now saying, oh, well, she didn't cause the hypothermia, so it's not manslaughter, it's not murder. Very interesting. Don't you think?